Oh, hey guys. So I wanted to share with you a versatile climbing system that I've been using now for about a year. I would consider this, it's like a long lanyard slash short climbing rope slash hook line. Super versatile. I get a lot of value out of it. So I wanted to just go through the gear that I use to set this up, and then I'll show you how I actually use it in the field. So this system is based on a 30-foot piece of Teufelberger fly. It's called Dragonfly. This is an 11 mil rope with an eye splice in the end. Now the climbing system that I'm using on this is the Hitchhiker XF. I've been using Hitchhikers for years now. It is a hybrid climbing system. It's half mechanical and half hitch based. And it's very intuitive for anyone who is used to climbing on any type of hitch-based system. The benefit of the Hitchhiker is it allows seamless transitions between doubled rope, MRS, or SRT, SRS, right? And then on the bottom of the Hitchhiker, I'm running a Rock Exotica Swiva Eye carabiner, which has, so it puts the system on a full swivel. It also allows an extra spot to clip in the terminal end of your line on another carabiner. Okay, and then on the terminal end, I'm using a Petzl ball lock carabiner, which is my favorite carabiner on the end of all my lanyards. And then I'm storing the whole thing in one of these nice DMM bags. I don't always use it in the bag, but it is really nice. It keeps everything contained. So that's the gear setup on this. I will show you first how I use it as a long lanyard. Okay, so let's say you're out on a limb and you want to lanyard in to make a cut. Okay, sometimes the only available option for lanyarding in is putting the lanyard, underneath the limb that you're standing on, which is a pretty bad option. If you were to take a slip, you're going to kind of swing underneath, lose your balance. What you really want in a lanyard position is something that you can lean back and put your weight into to get comfortable to make a cut, right? So, and the problem is a lot of times you're limited with the length of your lanyard. So with a long lanyard like this, I have 30 feet worth of rope to work with. Let's say there's another limb that's 10, 12 feet away. If I can get the terminal end of this system through that union and get it back to me, I now have all of this available lanyard length to work with to set it up so that, I can lean right back and make that cut, right? Now, if I'm using this setup as a lanyard, I'm going to be running it off of the lower attachment points. I'm never going to be running it off the upper Ds. It's very uncomfortable for lanyards in general, but especially when it's a longer setup like this. So that's usage number one, is as a long lanyard. Usage number two is a short rope. So there are many times where, let's say I'm tied in over here and I've worked my way over to here, and I want just sort of a temporary holding position to improve my angle to come down over here and do some work, right? One option is to set a redirect on your main line, but another option is to use a secondary rope. And so if I have this system in my bag and it's hanging on my saddle already because I figured I might need it on this climb, rather than setting up a redirect or rather than calling from the ground to get a second rope, I'm just going to use this short rope, right? So if I want to set it up retrievable and the distance is going to work with this 30 feet of rope, I'll set it up as a doubled rope system, or MRS, right? So to do that, I'm just going to take the terminal end through a union, and then I'm going to clip it back to the Swiva Eye, right? And now I have a nice climbing system. It's short, 30 feet of rope in MRS gives me about 15 feet worth of travel, but a lot of time that's enough to get it done. And set up in a moving rope system, it means that I don't have to come back here to retrieve it. All I have to do is unclip the terminal end and I can get it back, right? Now there are a lot of times where it's still not going to be long enough, the 15 feet worth of travel. So in those cases, I'll set it up as SRT or SRS, right? So the easiest way to do that is if I just take the terminal carabiner off and stow it, and now I can just tie it as a running bowline, right? With that terminal end. So now I'm choking it off, so this doesn't need to be on a union at all. This can be on a stem. I can choke this off on anything, right? So now what I have is 30 feet of rope, minus whatever I used for the choke. I now have 30 feet of rope in an SRT, SRS climbing system that I can use to work a section of tree, all I have to think about is getting it back. So I either have to come back to it, or I do have the option of setting, let's say I have an accessory cord for a retrieval rope. I can use that on here and actually get it back. Another option, if you don't like using a running bowline like this, you can set this up as a more traditional, simplistic canopy anchor with a piece of hardware like a Quickie or a Delta or something, right? So again, super versatile. I can get a lot of work done just with this 30 feet of rope set up in an SRS, SRT system like this, right? And now the third thing that I use this rope for is a hook line. So I'm talking about the captain hook, right? Now I've only had a captain hook for about 2 years now. I will say these days there are a ton of gadgets and gizmos that you can get and add to your climbing system. I would consider a lot of them to be sort of fluff. They're nice to have, but they're not really necessary, right? There's a lot of things like that. I would definitely not put the captain hook in that category. To me, I would say every climber needs a captain hook. It's one of those things, it took me a while to get used to having it. I climbed for so long without having a hook that I just got used to struggling. And now that I have one, I use it all the time. I really do. It takes practice to get good at, but the way that I set it up is I just clip it onto that ball lock carabiner on the terminal end, right? And now I have 30 feet of line ready to go, right? I can throw it, I can hook onto something, and I'm already pre-rigged with an SRT climbing system. It's ready to go that I can use to traverse or climb over. I can rope walk on this. I can do whatever I need to do to get over to where I need to go, right? So that's how I use this 30-foot system. I get a lot of value out of it. Like I say, it's very versatile for what goes into it. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys, and hopefully you can get some value out of it. All right, until next time.